Okay, gang. Well, let's see what we can do here with my quote-unquote low-tech setup um, with kind of a different version of Korean National Farming LAB. As I said, um, this has been in the refrigerator. This has not been inoculated with rice wash water. It is not a step that I would recommend that anybody else skip. I was just kind of intrigued and wanted to see what would happen because lactobacillus is still going to be in here, um, and but um, it won't have any of the other traces and stuff that you might have gotten from the rice wash water, or it may be that the rice wash water was simply a source of carbohydrate to get that fermentation process to work more quickly. This is a very old gallon, a jug of low-fat milk, and as you can see, the serum has already been done, and I don't know if you can see that. There's sediment and whey in the bottom, so I'm holding that too high. I apologize. There's sediment and whey in the bottom of this gallon jug. So we're just going to kind of very carefully pour it through into this glass jar. It's the one item that I've got that I can use this red funnel. The funnel's got a filter on the inside of it also. It's also the funnel that I used when I made my WAC, WCA, the water-soluble calcium. This gallon jug of milk had never been opened, and so it had been pretty much sterile and been in the refrigerator. Let's see how we're doing here. Okay. We're getting a little bit of whey. Tiny pieces of whey that are coming out and getting caught. There's also a small screen at the bottom of this red funnel. It was a little bit expensive for a funnel, but I think it's going to turn out to be a good value. Let me take a look here. Let me bring this up to the camera and see if perhaps you can see inside there. That's the curds that were made from that spoiled milk. If you go to Chris Trump's website, Biomei, I think it's spelled Biomei. You can click on, I think it's called free information, and he shows you how to do a variety of solutions, and he will give you that recipe for LAB. Basically what you're going to be doing is you just take rice and put it in a clean bowl, fill it with water, slush it around a little bit, and the volume of your rice wash water is going to determine the volume of your serum, because you'll be mixing those two 1 part to 10. Now, this is what they call an anchor hocking Heritage Hill glass container. These are the ones, this is virtually identical to the one that Chris Trump uses on his videos in Hawaii. The heritage version of the Anchor Hocking are much heavier duty, and they're really, really nice containers. But they are a bit expensive. I think they're like $25 or $35 a piece when I got them. And I bought them through a restaurant supply. If anybody's interested in some of that information, the website that I bought these and other supplies through is called Webstaurant. It's a restaurant supply website. And if you're going to be getting a bunch of things, or if you're going to get together with some other people and get a bunch of stuff all at once, you can get some really nice quality supplies at a fair price. I would not buy much of their stuff that's at the bottom price range, but there's usually another item just above that, and the quality difference between those two is pretty significant. So what we've got here, this is a 2-gallon container. I just measured it off in terms of vertical. So up to here is 10 parts. So this is the whey that I'm going to be using. We won't really be using these delineations. This is just a container for holding the whey. What I'll be doing the dilution with is this 5-gallon bucket. This is the 5-gallon bucket that I used when I did my phosphorus solutions. I've used it for my calcium solutions. I calculated out and measured out 10 quarts, and I took that mark and I transposed it to the inside, so when I'm filling with water, I can know exactly what I need to fill it to get to 10 quarts. So so I'm using 10 quarts. The recipe calls for a 20 to 1 dilution factor. So 20 to 1 would be a half a quart, which would be a pint, which would be 16 ounces. So I'll fill this 5-gallon bucket up to the 10 quart level, add 1 quart or 16 ounces, which I'll measure out from a mason jar, a half full mason jar, and I'll put that into my 10 quarts, and that will give me a 20 to 1 ratio. And then I'll pour from this bucket into my fogger. And that's what we're going to work with today. So this is the setup, and let's go ahead and make the mixture. Let me go get that quart jar, and we'll get started. Okay, so in dipping the mason jar, because we're dealing with such a big container here, wasn't able to quite get it to the 16 ounce mark. One of the reasons I like to use the mason jars is because you've got those measuring, it makes things a lot faster and easier when everything's pre-measured. So we're just gonna add the 16 ounces of the serum, and now this is water that is coming from a garden hose, that is coming from the city water, but I've shown it previously on another video. I've got one of those what do they call it, blue boogie filters. It's basically just a solid carbon filter. Ah, I forgot to turn the water on. Give me a moment. As you can see, I'm very organized and pre-planned. Okay. Let's see how that goes now. I've explained in a previous video, I don't have running water in my camper, and I don't have regular, I don't have a well or regular water other than just a water meter. I made a conversion coming off of a second box with a water meter with a backflow preventer and a regulator that's required. And then I converted that to HDPE. That's the black pipe that you use for irrigation and for landscaping and livestock water. That's my main source of water. So I have to be, come on, what's going on here? Oh, there's a kink. Hold on. There's a kink in the hose. There's a kink in the production. Okay. Generally, I don't like to move the hoses around unless there's water pressure on them, and that prevents them from kinking. But here we go. Let's see. There we go. So we've got 16 ounces of the whey serum, and we're going to be filling it up to the line that's equivalent to 10 quarts. So 10 quarts is 20 pints, and that's going to give you basically your 10 to 1. I usually overfill it just a tiny little bit. Okay. So now that gives us our a 5-gallon bucket full of diluted serum that can now be put into the fogger for distribution. So that's going to be the next step in the process. So this video is getting a little bit on the long side, gang, so I'm going to go ahead and make that a separate video because it's going to take a while to get that equipment out anyway. So with that, gang, I will wish you blessings for the day, and whatever you do, just keep chasing the dream.